activity to service and activity to broadcast receiver. But now we're discussing only the intents concept with respect to activity. So we've seen activity to activity communication by using the intents concept. Okay. So again, there are two types of intents: implicit intents and explicit intents, right? Yeah. So today we'll discuss the next UI component. Today we'll discuss the next UI component, that is autocomplete text view. Today we'll discuss one of the UI component in Android is what? Autocomplete text view is a UI component. So in short, I termed as ACTV, autocomplete text view. So this autocomplete text view is a subtype of edit text. This autocomplete text view is what? It's a subtype of edit text which is used to provide an auto-completion support to the user. Okay, so autocomplete text view is what? It's a subtype of edit text which is used to provide an auto-completion support to the user. For example, let's take best example Google. If you type anything in Google, so here, if you are searching for anything in Google, so if you type anything in Google, so automatically we are getting some auto-completion support here, right? We are getting what? And this is auto-completion support. We got a drop-down menu and this drop-down menu is showing that it is providing an auto-completion support. It is providing here. Okay, so here also in Android application, if you're developing any application, if you have a requirement of providing an auto-completion support while the user is typing, so now is it better now or still same? Yeah. Subtype of edit text which is used to provide an auto-completion support to the user. Like while user is typing the code, we had to provide an auto-completion support we had to provide to the user. Okay. So basically in the XML file, we'll create a UI component called AutoCompleteTextView. We'll create a UI component called what? AutoCompleteTextView component will create, and we'll configure the ID an ID will configure for the AutoCompleteTextView component. And we'll specify few other parameters like width, height, and we'll specify few other parameters we'll specify. Okay, the common parameters, width, height, and all. Okay. So this is the first thing. We had to create an auto-completion text view component we had to create. Next. For providing an auto-completion support, first we had to configure the values. First we had to configure the values we had to configure. For providing an auto-completion support, first we had to configure the values we had to configure first. Okay. In Android, there are two ways to configure the values. For providing an auto-completion support, first we had to configure the values we had to configure first. First we had to configure the values. In Android, there are two ways to configure the values. Correct or not? Well, if you want to provide an auto-completion support, first somewhere you have to configure the values. Boss, if user is given this character, show these values. If user is given this character, show these values. Like somewhere we have to configure the values first. There are two ways to configure the values. One is the XML approach. Second thing is a Java approach. One is what? XML approach. Second thing is what? Java approach. There are two ways to configure the values: XML configuration and Java configuration. Okay. Let's see the first one, XML approach. If you want to configure the values, if you want to configure using XML, if you want to configure the values, if you want to configure using XML, in resource folder, in RES folder, you can find a folder called values is a folder name. In resource folder, you can find a folder called what? Values is a folder. Okay. So in this values folder, you can find a file called strings.xml file. You can find a file called what? Strings.xml is XML file name. Strings.xml. Okay. In this strings.xml file, we had to configure the values. Whatever the values he wants to present, inside this strings.xml file, we had to configure the values we had to configure. With this tag name, we had to configure the values. String array. In the strings.xml file, we had to create one string array. We had to create, give a name for this array, give an array name, give what? Array name. In the string array, we had to give a name, we had to give for the array name. Let's configure the values. We'll configure by using item by item. Let's configure the values using item by item tag. We'll configure the list of values we'll configure. In strings.xml file, we'll configure the values we'll configure by using item by item tag. We'll configure the values we'll configure by using item by item tag. We will configure the values we'll configure by using item by item tag. We'll configure the values. So value 1, value 2, value 3, like this. And finally we had to close what? The string array we had to close finally. Okay, this is a configuration. First, for presenting the values, first we had to configure the values we had to configure in the strings.xml file. In this format, we'll configure the values we'll configure. Okay, next. This is only configuration, that's it. Just we configure the values we configured. Next. For presenting the values, get the XML configured values into activity using the following method. Okay. Basically, there is a method called return type of this method is nothing but string array. Return type of this method is string array is a return type, and specifying values is equals to get resources is a method. Get resources dot get string array is a method. Get string array is a method. Specify the array name. R dot array dot specify the array name. String array values is equals to get resources dot get string array. Specify the array name here. R dot array dot specify the array name. By using this method, we can get the XML configured values. We can get into activity we can get. And we are holding that values we are holding into one string array we are holding. We are holding the values we are holding into string array we are holding. Okay. This is the first thing. We have to, for presenting the values first we have to configure the values either in XML or Java. This is the first approach. Configure the values in this XML file, and for presenting the values, first what are the values you configured, get that XML configured values into your activity class. Next, for presenting the data, we have to create a adapter. For presenting the data, we had to create what? An adapter we had to create. This adapter means nothing but for example, I want to develop an application I want to develop. While user is entering a country name, for example, there is an option to the user to enter country name. This is the option. Enter country name. Enter country name. Here we'll provide a text box. We'll provide here. This is nothing but it's an autocomplete text view component. What is this UI component? It's a autocomplete text view component. In this autocomplete text view component, while user is typing, for example, if user is given just a character, this is what it's an autocomplete text view component. This is an autocomplete text view component. If user is given any character, for example, user is given a character called I, for example. Let's take A. User is given a character called A. So here in the drop down menu, we had sorry. So if user is given a character called A, we had to show all the list of country names with the starting character A. In drop down menu, show all the list of country names with the starting character what? A. Okay, this is a requirement. In the drop down menu, I want to show all the list of country names with that particular starting character. This is my requirement. Now here we got this drop down menu, right? If user is given a character, we got a drop down menu we got. So this is called as an adapter. We got a drop down menu we got a drop down menu we got. This is nothing but what? It's a adapter. This drop down menu is nothing but it's an adapter. This drop down menu is nothing but what? It's a adapter. It's what? It's a adapter. Okay. For presenting the data, we had to create an adapter. We had to create an adapter. In Android, there are three types of adapters. In Android, there are three types of adapters are available. One is array adapter is one thing. In Android, there are three types of adapters. One is array adapter, second thing is custom adapter, and third thing is cursor adapter. These are the three types of adapters. Array adapter, custom adapter, and cursor adapter. These are the three types of adapters we are having. Array adapter, custom adapter, and cursor adapter. Slowly we'll discuss one after another. I mean, what exactly this custom, cursor, array and all. Okay. So initially, what is the first one? Array adapter. Let's see what is the syntax of this array adapter. Array adapter, we had to specify its generic class. We had to specify what type of data we are presenting. We'll present a string type of data we'll present. Adapter is equals to new array adapter of string. New array adapter of string. For this array adapter, we have to specify three parameters we have to specify. For this array adapter, we have to specify what? How many parameters we have to specify? Three parameters we have to specify for this array adapter. Three parameters we have to specify for this array adapter. Three parameters are nothing but one is a context. Context is the first parameter. Second parameter is XML file. Third parameter is a list of configured values. These are the three parameters you have to specify. Context, XML file, and the list of configured values. These are the three parameters you have to specify. Now this adapter we have to set to the autocomplete text view component. We have to set autocomplete text view dot. There is a method called set adapter is a method. Specify the adapter object. Autocomplete text view dot set adapter is a method. Specify the adapter object to this autocomplete text view. Okay, and finally we have to call autocomplete text view dot. There is a method called threshold is a method. Threshold is a method. Specify the integer as a input. Autocomplete text view dot set threshold. We have to specify number. We have to specify. Purpose of this threshold method is nothing but after how many characters you want to get the drop down support. To specify after how many characters you want to get the drop down support. You want to get the drop down support after one character, after two characters, or three characters. That number will specify in this threshold method. Okay, after how many characters you want to get the drop down support. Okay, so this is about autocomplete text view component. Now we'll create a simple application. We'll create the same thing whatever I specified here. This application I want to create. I want to provide an option to enter a country name. Enter country name. If user is given any country name with the starting character, any character, I want to provide an auto completion support. I want to provide to the user to show the list of country names with that particular starting character. Okay, this is a requirement. So now we'll see how to do this one. Let's create a project. Start a new Android Studio project. Specify the project name. Let's say I'm specifying the project name as ACTV test is a project name I specified. ACTV test is a project name I specified. Okay, next. And here take an empty activity. Select what? An empty activity. Next. Finish. Okay. So now here in activity XML file or activity XML file, we'll create a UI component called autocomplete text view component will create. I'm removing the main relative layout, replace the linear layout. Don't require this tools attribute. After the orientation as vertical I specified. Now here in this linear layout, first we'll create on text view component will display. Width is match parent, occupy the entire screen. The height is specified as wrap content up to the content. And what is the text you want to display? Text I want to display. Enter text is the text I want to display here. What is the text I'm displaying? Enter text. Okay. So if you want, you can define the text size. You can define what is the text size and what is the text style and all these attributes you can define. And below this text view component, I want to create one autocomplete text view component. I want to create below the text view component. I want to create what? One autocomplete text view component. I want to create below the text view component. Width I specified as match parent, occupy the entire screen, and height I specified as what? Wrap content I specified. Width is match parent and height I specified as what? Wrap content is the height I specified. Now in this autocomplete text view component, we'll configure the ID the ID will configure for this autocomplete text view component. ACTV is the ID I configured. What is the ID I configured for this autocomplete text view component? ACTV is the ID I configured. Okay. Okay. Now select the design here. So this is what the UI we created. We created what? One text view component we created. We created a text view component we created. And below of the text view component, we created one autocomplete text view component we created. We created a text view component we created. And below of the text view, we created an autocomplete text view component we created. Fine, right? Okay. Next, in the activity on create method, get the UI component into your activity class. So in the XML file, we create a UI component called autocomplete text view. XML file we created what? Autocomplete text view component we created. Get that autocomplete text view component into the on create method. Autocomplete text view is equals to find view by id r.id.act, meaning we are getting the autocomplete text view component we are getting into the activity class we are getting. First in the XML file we created a autocomplete text view component we created in the XML file. The XML file we created what? Autocomplete text view component we created in the XML file. And next we are getting that autocomplete text view component we are getting into the activity class we are getting that autocomplete text view component. We are getting into what? Into activity we are getting that autocomplete text view component. Next, I told you that we had to configure the values we had to configure first. For presenting the values, first we had to configure the values we had to configure in the strings.xml file we had to configure the values we had to configure. This is the first approach. We'll see the second approach, Java approach. This is the first approach, XML approach. Let's configure the values in this strings.xml file. So in your project, you can find a folder called resource is a folder. In resource folder, you can find a folder called values is a folder name. In resource, values is a folder. In this values folder, you can find a file called strings.xml is a XML file. In this values folder, you can find XML file called what? Strings.xml is a XML file. In this strings.xml file, we had to create one string array we had to create. We had to create a string array we had to create. Let's configure the name for this array. For example, I'm specifying the array name as countries is array name I specified. We are creating what? A string array we are creating. What is array name I specified? Countries is the array name I specified. Countries is the array name I specified. Okay. So now in this string array, let's configure the values by using item by item type. Just for demonstration, I'm configuring few values I'm configuring here. Just for configuration, just for demonstration, I'm configuring few values I'm configuring here. Okay, so I configured few values I configured just for demonstration. Array name, string array name, countries is the array name. Okay, like this you can configure. Like this you can configure n number of values you can configure in the strings.xml. Like this you can configure what? N number of values you can configure in the strings.xml file. Okay. Next, what is the next one? Next step. See, first we had to configure the values we had to configure first in the strings.xml file. But for presenting the values, this XML configured values we had to get into our activity class we had to get. For presenting the values, these XML configured values we had to get into our activity class we had to get. So now in your activity on create method, in your activity main activity on create method, after this autocomplete text view component, let's create a string array. Let's create what? A string array values is equals to get resources dot get string array is a method. We have to specify the array name. We have to specify r dot array dot. We have to specify the array name. We have to specify what is array name. Countries is the array name. The XML file we configured the values we configured in XML. Next we had to get that XML configured values we had to get into activity we had to get. So by using this statement, we'll get the XML configured values we'll get into activity class we'll get. Next. Next thing is, what is the next one? For presenting the values, okay, we got the values we got. Next, for presenting the data, we had to create what? An adapter we had to create. For presenting the data, we had to create an adapter. There are three types of adapters are there: array adapter, custom adapter, and cursor adapter. Okay, so what we had to do is, let's take the first one, array adapter, meaning you will get a drop down menu, right? Once if you type a character, we'll get this auto completion support we'll get. This drop down menu is nothing but what? It's a adapter. Okay, the syntax for this creating the array adapter, the first one is array adapter. Let's see what is the syntax of creating this array adapter. Array adapter, it's a generic class, so we had to specify what type of data we had to send. We are presenting the string type of data we are presenting. Adapter is equals to new array adapter of string. In this array adapter, we had to specify what type of data in this array adapter, we had to specify three parameters we had to specify. Can you know what are the three parameters here? One is the context. Context is the first parameter. Second parameter is the XML file, and third parameter is a list of configured values. So these are the three input parameters: context, XML file, and the list of configured values. Context, XML file, and the list of configured values. Right? Okay. So here, context means nothing but your activity class object. Context means nothing but right now in which activity class you are available, we had to specify that activity object we had to specify. Here, wherever you find a statement called context, you can use this method. You can use so that you'll get the context object. You'll get your activity object, get application context, or simply you can use your activity class name dot this you can use. If you are in the activity class, simply you can use your activity object dot an activity class name dot this. Basically, the first parameter is nothing but context. You can use get application context method. You can use, or you can use this attribute also. You can use because we are already inside the activity class. Second parameter is nothing but XML file. Second parameter is nothing but what? XML file. So meaning what will specify in this XML file? Basically, the XML file is used to specify, okay, you'll get a drop down menu, you'll get, right? In this drop down menu, what is the in which style you want to present this user interface? What is the background color for this individual UI component? Okay, what is the background color for this? What is the text color for this individual view? This is the individual view, right? This is one individual view. What is the background color, what is the text color. You want to display only a text view component, a text view along with any radio button, or text view along with any checkbox. Okay, meaning in which style you want to present that individual view, in which style you want to present that individual view, we had to specify that one here in the XML file. In which style you want to present the individual cell, we had to define in the XML file, we had to define that one. Okay, here you can create your own XML file. You can create in which format you want to present. You can create your own XML file, you can create, or already Android contains some built-in XML files. You can take that any one of the built-in XML file also you can take. You can take any one of the built-in XML file also you can take. For this example, what we'll do, we'll take a built-in XML file. We'll take already Android contains some built-in XML files. I want to use a built-in XML file. If I want to use simple, like if you want to access the XML file which is created in the layout folder, simply will specify r.layout.xml file. But here, if you want to get the built-in XML file, if you want to get the Android built-in XML file, if you want to get, then we have to specify this one, Android dot r dot layout dot. These are all the built-in XML files. Android dot r dot layout dot. So these are the built-in XML files. You can take any built-in XML file you can take. Okay, so these are the three parameters you have to specify. First one is a context. Second one is a XML file, in which format you want to present. Third parameter is a list of configured values. Context. Second parameter is the XML file, in which format you want to present. Third parameter is a list of configured values. Okay, and next we have to set this adapter. We have to set to the autocomplete text view component. We have to set the adapter. We have to set. Third parameter is a list of configured values, where the values are available. Okay, next, what is the last one? We had to set this adapter. We had to set to the autocomplete text view component. We had to set the adapter. Autocomplete text view dot. There is a method called set adapter is a method. Specify the adapter object. Autocomplete text view dot set adapter is a method. Specify the adapter object to this set adapter method. And finally, what is the last one? We had to specify threshold. We had to specify, meaning after how many characters you want to get the drop down support. So that parameter will specify in the threshold method. Autocomplete text view dot. There is a method called threshold is a method. In this threshold method, will specify the count. Will specify after how many characters you want to get the drop down support. I specified one. I specified. Even if you don't specify threshold also, by default it will take as one. It will take by default. Explicitly, if you want to increase or decrease the number after how many characters you want to get the support, then you can use this threshold method. You can use. Okay, so we'll test the application. Just give me a minute. I'll bring the cable. I'll bring. Okay, so test the application. Will test. So test the application. Will test. Let's run the application. In Samsung device, we are installing the application.
Mahesh,
Yes.
you are connecting the mobile to Android, right? So without using cable or
No, with the cable only. First, initially, you had to connect the cable. You had to connect initially.
to
No,
run this app in the mobile, you need APK file, right? So
no. This Android is a software. Why I'm using this one? Because just to show the preview to the user. That's it. I mean, this is my phone preview. Just for showing my phone preview, I'm using this software.
okay, you are running this app on the mobile, right? I
Yeah,
mean, to show the preview at least.
yeah.
So it requires .apk file or it will just run automatically.
It required. Meaning, installation is required. First, you had to install this APK file. You had to install Android APK file. Install. You had to install in your system first. I mean, in your mobile phone, you have to install, and it will work through internet. It will work. It is going to send the screen, my mobile screen preview. You're able to see my mobile phone screen preview, right? So how it is sending that preview is with the internet. Through internet, it's going to send the data to the system.
Got the thing actually. So my question is on the screen of mobile when I connect to my laptop.
Hmm.
So there is one screen showing that drag or drop your APK files. So when I try to open the APK files from my mobile to PC, what are the application that I develop?
Hmm.
So I didn't find that .apk file. So where does it exist?
You developed an application. You developed, right? You want
Yeah,
to you want to
I
test, you want to test the application.
yeah.
Hmm. So if you want to test the application, I mean in your mobile phone, you want to test, right?
So where does I find that .apk file in the source folder or something? I don't know where it exists.
No, you cannot. A application is going to be installed directly. See here. For example, our application is installed here, right? I'll show you here.
So, in the project that we are doing, there will be a APK file, right? So all the files will be combined into .apk.
Yeah, it's going to generate the .apk file. It will generate
Yeah, where does it exist
in our
in the
project.
project?
In the project, actually, you had to go to the path. You had to go. You had to choose a path where actually the original path is available. In desktop telephony test, ACTV test 2 is a project name, right? You had to go to that particular folder. You had to go the folder desktop telephony test 2. You can find option called build. ACTV test 2 is a project name. Here you can find option called build folder is there, right? Yes. App build outputs. In outputs you can find APK. We can find here. See app debug.apk file.
Okay.
So internally in the path you can find this one, but in Android Studio you cannot see that one.
Okay. So when we go through this mobile, that one only we will able to see an Android application through. If you
నాకు
want to run the app,
నాకు అర్థం అవ్వట్లేదు ఏ డ్రాయిడ్ ఎందుకు వస్తుంది అనేది నాకు అర్థం అవ్వట్లేదు స్క్రీన్లోకి.
so Android స్టూడియోలో రన్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేశానండి.
ఓకే స్టూడియో నుంచి రన్ చేశారు. ఓకే
ట్రై చేస్తే ఎర్రర్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. సరే అని మొబైల్లో Android అప్లికేషన్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకొని దాని ద్వారా ట్రై చేశాను అనమాట. సో
మీరు if you want to test in mobile phone you need to install Android. Why am
యా ఐ హ్యావ్ Android ఇన్ మై మొబైల్.
okay.
సో Android ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసిన తర్వాత మనకి ఏపీకే ఉంటేనే కదా మనకి అప్లికేషన్ రన్ అయ్యేది.
అవును.
సో మనం డెవలప్ చేసిన అప్లికేషన్ ఏపీకే ఫైల్ ఎక్కడ ఉందో కనిపించలేదు అనమాట. మనం డెవలప్ చేసిన అప్లికేషన్ మొబైల్లో చూడటానికి.
ఓకే, నేను చెప్తానండి ఒకసారి క్లాస్ అయిపోయి ఈరోజు విల్ స్పెండ్ సమ్ టైం డెఫినెట్లీ. ఓకే,
యా థ్యాంక్ యూ.
basically directly you can connect your phone with USB and you can run the application directly. Okay,
ఓ ఓకే గాట్ ఇట్.
let's run the application. So this is the app we developed, autocomplete text view test. Okay, so enter the text here. If you give any character, see I got the autocompletion support I got. So India, Ireland, Iran. So these are the values we configured. So if you give a character called A, you get the list of country names with the starting character A as well as. So you got this South Africa and Saudi Arabia also we got. Reason is nothing but the second word. Second word is starting with the A character, right? So this kind of support is also there in autocomplete text view component. Okay. So these are the values we configured. If you give any character FAQ, you'll get the autocompletion support we are getting. Okay. This is XML configured values. We configured the values in XML, we configured the values and we are presenting the values we are presenting here. Okay. Next, the second approach is what? Java configuration. One is the XML configuration. Second thing is what? Java configuration. XML and Java configuration. See, finally what we did in our application, we configured the values in the strings.xml file, we configured the values. And finally we got that that XML configured values. Finally we got into the Java code we got. We are holding the values, we are holding into one string array we are holding. Was rather than configure the values in XML file and getting the values into Java code and hold the values into Java code, why can't you directly create a string array here? And why can't you directly maintain the values in this string array? Right? My question is, on the XML file we configured the values, finally we got the values into Java code and we are holding that XML configured values, we are holding into one string array we are holding. Rather than configuring the values in XML and getting the values into Java code, directly can configure the values here itself, right? Directly can configure the values. Here only can configure the values. String array values is equals to a new string array. Let's configure the values here only. Like I want to configure. I configured. Now the values I configured in Java, I configured the values. Now I configured the values in Java, I configured the values. In string array, I configured the values I configured. Okay. Now let's run the application. This is Java configuration. Now we configured the values we configured in a Java we configured. Only three values we configured now, that is Canada, see Canada and Chile. Next, we configured one more thing called Afghanistan. Okay, this is a Java configuration, XML configuration and Java configuration. Now we'll see what is the differences. What is the difference between XML configuration and Java configuration? XML configuration and Java configuration. Difference is nothing but the main difference is in case of it's a static data. In case of it's a static data, we'll prefer to use what? XML file. The differences between XML and Java is nothing but the differences between XML and Java is XML is static. XML is what? It's a static data. For example, country names. For country names, you can configure an XML, you can configure because it's a static data. Country names will not change, right? Country names will not change. It's a static data. You can configure the static data, you can configure in the XML file, you can configure the static data. Okay, so it will not change. Dynamically, it will not change. In case of Java, it's a dynamic. For example, I'm developing an application for movie related things. So if user is type any movie name, for example, if user is given any movie name, I want to provide an auto-completion support. I want to provide with a particular starting character, movie names. But it's not a static. We can configure static also. We can configure. See, we know that every week, maybe nearly a 50 to 60 new movies are going to be released in the market, right? So we have to provide the dynamic data. We have to provide at that time. In case of static, configure in XML. In case of dynamic, configure the values in Java. This is a one major difference. Second thing is nothing but if you configure the values in XML file, if you configure the values, it will provide I18N. I18N is termed as, it's a shortcut name. Basically, it's a shortcut name. I18N means internationalization. I18N means what? Internationalization. If you want to provide the internationalization support, if you want to provide, configure the values in XML file. I'll repeat once again. If you want to provide the internationalization support, if you want to provide, configure the values in XML file. Sorry. Mean multi-language. Multi-language support, if you want to provide, configure the values in XML file. Okay. So in Java file, if you configure the values, if you configure in Java, we cannot provide that internationalization support. If you want, we cannot provide. If you configure the values in XML file, you can provide what? Multi-language support you can provide. In case of Java, if you configure, we cannot provide what? Internationalization support we cannot provide. Let's see how can you provide this internationalization support. For example, here, open your XML file, activity XML file, and here we are presenting the text we are presenting. But directly we hard coded the string we hard coded here. Android colon text is equals to enter text. Directly we hard coded the string we hard coded here. That's why if you put the cursor here, see only at this statement only it is showing some error. It's not an error, it's a warning. See it's here, it is showing in a different color, it is showing, correct or not? Only this particular statement is showing with a different color. Reason is nothing but if you put the cursor on here, if you put the cursor on this one, see what is the message it is showing here? I18N hard coded string enter text should use string resource. Hard-coded string enter text should use what? At string resource. Meaning it is telling boss don't hard-code the string. Don't hard-code the string. Wherever you have a requirement of displaying the text, first configure the text in a strings.xml file. I mean this enter text is there, right? This enter text we had to configure in the strings.xml. In strings.xml file, we'll configure the string, we'll configure here. Configure a string, give a name for this one. I given a name I given as ECN is a name I given. Okay. First we had to configure what? A string we had to configure first. First we had to configure what? One string we had to configure. Give a name for this string. I given the string name as ECN is a name I given. ECN is a name I given. Now inside the string, let's specify what is the value you want to display. Let's specify what is the text you want to display. Enter text. ECN. Okay. Next. Now here in your program or in your XML file, wherever you have a requirement of displaying the text, enter country name. Wherever you have a requirement of displaying the text, enter country name. So use use this string. Here I want to display the text I want to display. Enter text. Use at string slash ECN. At string slash ECN. Advantage of this one is nothing but we can provide the internationalization support we can provide. Let's see how can you provide the internationalization support. Simple. Let's open your activity XML file. Open the main activity underscore main.xml file. Open what? Activity underscore main.xml and select this design tab. Select what? The design tab. Sometimes you'll get these rendering issues, you'll get sometimes. In place of this theme, app theme, let's change to normal theme. Enter text. Enter what? Text. Okay. So here I want to provide this one in a multi-language support. I want to provide my application. I want to give in different languages. I want to give my application. This is a requirement. So here you can find this globe symbol. You can find here a globe or map symbol. You can find here. Just click on this. You can find the option called edit translations. You can find the option called what? Edit translations. In this edit translations, again you can find this globe symbol. You can find again. So here once if you select this one, it is showing the list of countries. It is showing here for Africans. Different languages are there: Arabic, Bengali, Bihar. So different languages are available now. Even our language also you can find Hindi, Telugu. So these languages are also available here. Urdu, okay, TW, Telugu, okay, Telugu, okay. Like you can find different languages you can find here. Okay. Here I'm taking Arabic. I'm taking here because my phone is not having this our Indian language support. That's why I'm taking this Arabic. I'm taking here Arabic. I taken. Okay. Now here, see here ECN. This is a default value. Default value is what? Enter text is a default value. Now, what is the equivalent value for this? Now, what is the equivalent value for this one in Arabic? We have to specify here. Enter text and what is the value in Arabic? We have to specify that one here. Okay, let's specify. Let's open this Google Translator. Enter text. I need the equivalent value in Arabic. Is the equivalent value. Let's copy the text. Copy the text and specify here. That's it. Now open the values folder. Open the values folder. In this strings.xml file. Earlier it's a file, but now it's a folder. Strings.xml is a folder now. This is a default one, English one, strings.xml. Let's open this one. You'll get the XML code. You'll get this XML file. String name ECN is a name. ECN is the name of the string, and this is a value. Enter text is a value, right? And this is another one, strings.xml file. It's a Arabic. The strings.xml is a Arabic language. See, ECN, we given what? Arabic text we given. Like this, we can, like this, even if you want to get the drop down values also, if you want to provide the support, you have to configure all these string array, you have to configure, and you have to present that values you have to create here. And what is the equivalent value in that Arabic? Okay. So once if you create that edit translations, I'll show you once again here. Select this globe symbol. Select what? Edit translations. And again select this globe symbol. Already two languages already we added. Default language. Second thing is Arabic. Like this, if you want to add any different language, you can add here. So you'll get one more. Whenever you select that particular language, you'll get one more folder you will get here. So you have to configure what is the equivalent text in that particular language. Okay. Let's run the application now. I'll show you. So you got the output we got, but the phone default language is English is the phone default language. English is the phone default language. That's why you got this enter text. What I'm doing is now is I'll change the phone language. I'll change. I'll change the phone language. I'll change. In phone general language, I want to change here. Language and input. I'm changing the language here. The default language is English, right? I'm changing the default language, changing from English to Arabic. I want to set. Okay, I'm setting the Arabic. I'm setting here. Now the phone language I set to Arabic. I set the phone language. The phone language I set to what? Arabic. I set the phone language. Now here, just open your application. Open the application. We got the output we got, but okay. Let me show you. Okay, I selected application. I selected. See now I got the preview. I got enter country name. Earlier it is shown in a English. It is shown the text. Earlier it is shown in a English. It is shown, but now it is showing in a Arabic language. It is showing the text in Arabic language because now my phone language is set to Arabic. It is set. That's why it is displaying by default. It is displaying in a Arabic language. It is displaying the text. Okay. So once if you want to give the support in multi languages, just what we had to do is we had to add that edit translations. We had to add in edit translation. Just configure the list of countries here. You'll get all how many countries you'll add here. That many XML files you'll find in the strings.xml file. Okay. So any queries in today's session? This is about autocomplete text view component, XML configuration, and Java configuration. So any queries? So let me know if you have any queries. Otherwise, we'll discuss in the tomorrow class. Tomorrow we'll discuss.
Yeah, Mahesh,
Yeah.
uh, this topic will cover under which topic? I mean, intents. Last class we discussed implicit and explicit intents, right?
Yes, yes. This is
Yeah,
UI
this
components.
UI components.
Yeah, UI components. In Android, we are having different UI components. And in the next 1 week, we are going to discuss that UI components. We are going to discuss different UI components in Android. UI components. Okay. We are discussing activity, right? Activity means what? A single screen in the application, right? A single screen in the application. Okay. So we are going to design the screens with different UI components. So that's what we are going to discuss now. UI components, this autocomplete text view, list view, gallery, grid view, different UI components like radio button, checkbox, and all these components we are going to discuss. Okay. Yeah, other options are means we had to configure the values. You had to configure through XML only. You had to configure the values if you want to provide an auto completion support. Through Java also we can do that one, but it's a lengthy process. We had to. It's too difficult to convert through Java. But here in case of XML means it's very simple. Just you have to configure that equivalent text you have to configure in that particular language you have to configure. That's it. That's a question. Any other queries?
I don't know what is the problem with my Android Studio. I'm unable to run the applications or
What is the error you are getting?
I will share my screen. Just a second.
Others, if you want, you can. If you want, you can leave. Okay. Tomorrow we'll discuss the next topic. We'll discuss spinner concept. We'll discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay. Make as a presenter.
Can you share my screen?
I already given as a presenter. You can share your screen. You can share.
Yeah. So here the Gradle project sync completed with some errors. Something I'm getting. So here are the errors that I'm seeing. Gradle project sync completed with some errors. So if I want to run or do any application related things also, I'm unable to do.
Run the application now. Wait, wait.
Cannot launch AVD.
This is a problem with the HAXM. You cannot resolve this one. This is related to some
Oh,
graphics. This is related to graphics. Uh, Best option is if you have an Android phone, connect your phone with USB connection and run the application. That's better.
okay.
Do you have Android phone now?
Yeah,
Connect your.
but I don't have it now with me, so I will bring it tomorrow.
Okay. This is HAXM is related to some graphics related thing. We cannot resolve this one. So you have to install you have to test your apps in your phone only. You can test.
Okay.
Okay.
Mahesh, I have one query with the last classes. So I tried using that in the first example we discussed about the enter text, edit text, some four components we discussed.
Yes.
Text view, edit view, button, text view.
Mm.
So in that I tried to write the XML file and Java code in another machine. I tried the example code with the other machine.
Mm.
So XML file I written and Java code I written. So when I tried to execute the program, so I thought that there will be a linkage between the XML and Java, right?
Mm. We'll give that link
So where,
to XML file.
does that link we give that in which file?
In the on create method, we are going to use that one, right? Set content view.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the link between the XML file and Java file.
Okay,
Now I'm sending the videos. I'm sending to you, Pradeep,
okay,
and Diksha.
okay.
That it contains a video file. It's our first example. The video file name is a first example. Just go through that video once. Okay.
Okay, okay. And in some when we are writing code in the Android Studio, in some machines I'm seeing that public class main actions app compact activity,
Yeah.
and in some other machines it is showing different method.
Apps
So is that method depreciated now for the latest versions or
basically app compact activity, which will provide the support of the lower versions. Meaning, app,
okay,
app compact activity is also a child of activity class. App compact activity is also a child of activity class. Difference is nothing but you will get a toolbar. You will get in the app compact activity automatically you will get a toolbar. Toolbar means nothing but the header icon, header place you can find, right? The blue color.
yeah, yeah,
So that one you will get if you extend that app compact activity. If you don't extend that app compact activity, simply you extend that activity class, you will not get the toolbar. You will not get in the header section. That's only the difference.
if we are using the code using the Java, so just we are creating button example on that example, just we are creating the Java. In Java, we are just creating the button. For button instance, we are setting the on-click listener. Then we are implementing the on-click method.
Hmm. On-click is an interface. If you are providing the implementation for that interface, definitely you have to provide the
Okay.
implementation for one method called on-click.
Yeah.
Okay. I shared the video I shared with you. And to Diksha, you and Pradeep, I shared the videos I shared. Okay. Just listen the video once. You can find a video called first ex. First example is a video file name.
Okay.
Okay.
And okay. Also share the intents video also. I will just try today and
Contains
I will
almost
let
all
you
the next
know
20
how
sessions.
these are. Pardon?
It contains first 20 sessions classes are there. First 20 sessions
Okay.
we'll discuss all the videos I shared with you. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Then after that I'll share
Thank,
the next videos I'll share. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. Murali, can you hear me?